The point that just to begin here is that this visionary mode of revelation is a mode that ultimately has in view bringing a people to a time when they will see this uninterrupted for themselves, but giving them a glimpse of that which awaits them. So for Isaiah, this isn't the consummation of the ages at the return of Christ, but it's something like what that consummation will look like. Um, the church will be brought into that heavenly temple dwelling to see the glory of the triune God reflected off of the face of the ascended Christ, and the church bodily will join with the angels and the seraphim in the worship of God. Revelation 4 picks up on Isaiah 6 and says precisely that thing characterizes the worship in heaven right now and will characterize the worship in heaven for ages to come. What is it? Being brought into heaven and given what? Eyes that see, ears that hear, minds that understand this glory of God in heaven. And so it really is Isaiah 6 a very useful kind of template for us to appreciate the nature of this seeing and showing the revelation that God gives by virtue of now seeing of showing something to see. Now there's more to be said here. Numbers 12:6 um, Voss points out, and this is at the top of page 221. Voss says that Numbers 12:6 becomes a kind of a template of sorts for understanding prophets. If there's a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him in a vision. I speak with him in a dream. So that vision and dream, word of Jehovah and frequent vision become very close to synonyms. There's something kind of dreamlike about the visions that God gives the prophets. And for visions proper, and Camden, our listeners are going to find this, I hope they're going to find it useful. It's certainly a bit more arcane, and we're pushing boundaries of human understanding. I just want everyone to know that. And we're speaking just up to the limits of what God has revealed and trying not to move beyond those limits. But Voss has a section where he talks about the from pages 221 to 222 about the nature of the objects that the prophets perceive. And here's a kind of formulaic way of summarizing it, and then we can go and talk about this. He says, in visions, prophets perceive a super sensible world as that super sensible world, and by that he means the world beyond sensation, the world beyond what you can see, hear, or smell, or touch in this present dimension of what Klein would call the lower register. Realities of a super sensible, or to use more common parlance, heavenly world are momentarily brought within the range of the prophet's sight. That's the core. If everything else is lost on us as we're working through this very difficult material, just remember this, that visionary revelation is God bringing a super sensible, that is heavenly world, a world hidden from ordinary sight, momentarily within the range of the prophet's sight. And so this is really helpful. And I'll just make this point, and then Camden, we might want to discuss this as we preface some of the more
Hmm.
um, distinct material Voss is getting into. But this is once again a death nail to theological liberalism. Why? What is a prophet seeing or being shown according to the traditional liberal model? At very best, he's reflecting upon his own experience or the experience of others. in the nature of the case in theological liberalism, there is no super sensible heavenly world. There is no supernatural realm from which God is speaking and by which he is showing through symbols and supernatural communications things that image or reveal heavenly realities. At very best, what the liberal tradition is giving you is reflection upon the religious experience in this world of a given community. So for Voss to emphasize revelation through showing and seeing, and for him to define a vision proper as a momentary disclosure of a super sensible heavenly reality, that is once again 180 degrees uh, turn from what the liberal tradition would be telling you, which is to say what the prophet is being shown or what he's seeing, it's really nothing more than a microcosm of his own mind, of his own
Right.
experience, or the experience of his contemporaries. And so, a visionary mode of revelation is a temporary granting of access to a heavenly or super sensible reality. And I think that that needs to be appreciated. If you don't appreciate that, this is going to sound really abstract and almost like some could say, "Why are we even thinking about this?" Well, it's absolutely critical because it brings into view the vertical, supernatural, intrusionary character of visionary revelation, right? It's an actual disclosure to the prophet of something of a realm of created reality called heaven that transcends human knowledge and investigation in the nature of the case. It's hidden from sight. So I hope that helps our listeners say, we need to talk more about this because otherwise it could sound like we're just engaging in unusual speculation. No, this is an intrinsic component of the supernatural, vertical, intrusionary character of revelation that the prophet receives in a vision.